Hi everyone, welcome back to Tales of Edeah. Good to see you guys again. Now before we begin, I have to sadly announce that due to scheduling conflicts, Tornix player Bruno can no longer join us. And water. Of course we're very sorry to see him go, but we wish him all the best. And Bruno, if you get a chance to see this later, know that we'll miss you and Turnok. Now, if there's nothing else, and if you guys are ready, let's end our 2-week hiatus and get back into it. And here we go. Solarian Isle, year of the new era. The mysterious island on which the Ashenhearts have found themselves continues to live up to its reputation. Following a tense night under the protection of the elven spirit Edeah, the party awoke refreshed. They paid their tribute to Edeah and gave her, each of them, a token to which they felt a personal connection. In return, she blessed them with her blessing, granting them resilience against the challenges that lie ahead, which means advantage on wisdom saving throws, don't forget, as well as the ability to navigate the path through the island's magical mists safely. Not soon after, or perhaps very long after, they found themselves at the base of the immense Tower of Danos, which does not seem keen on letting them in. Their conundrum is made worse by the dozens upon dozens of translucent worms that hover around the base of the tower, intermittently feeding off of the puffs of pure magic that seem to escape through the cracks in the tower's stone. The tower's automated defenses have informed the Ashenhearts that the only way that they can be let inside is as prisoners, because the master of the tower is not currently home. Suspecting now that perhaps they were tricked by the Lady Edeah, the debate came to a point of the group deciding whether they should go back and confront her, or try their luck and enter the tower, in some other fashion. In the end, the discussion left a rift between the Ashenhearts and Turnok, and the latter of which chose to try to return to the Lady in the Woods, leaving the rest of the group at the base of the tower, and trying to puzzle out a way in, or choose to let themselves get captured as prisoners, and then engineer an escape attempt. Now, you're all seated together under the eaves of the wood that surrounds the hill on which the tower stands, some safe distance away from all the creatures that are focused on the tower. You've all had a short rest while debating and discussing all these matters, and Turnok has just left, so you can feel free to roll some hit dice, if you want to, or restore any resources that come back over a short rest. Once you've done that, please tell me, what would the Ashenhearts like to do?
First roll hit dice. Yes.
Seems like a good idea.
Yes.
Hi Simon, good to see you.
I feel like all this shade thrown JJ's way is just unfair.
No,
it's very fair.
No. I've never given anybody reason to distrust me. It's just...
Haven't you said it at some point? Well, at least JJ said something like, you shouldn't trust me.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. So we're sitting, the four of us, right? And Turnok's already left to speak to the lady.
Yeah.
What? I guess is this even a relevant question? Like, what time of day is it?
Actually, I have prepared an answer to that very question because I knew it would be the first one. It seems if you judge by the stance of the sun, and if you assume, even though it's going the wrong way, but if you assume that it's correct, it would be roughly 3 p.m. by that indication. Although it seems to move more quickly, climbing more quickly and dropping faster than it should, and is now on its way to setting incorrectly in the east once again.
And have we so far been able to kind of determine between our sleep cycles how many of the day and night cycles of the island pass?
That is another good question. So if you're thinking about that, I would say you're probably the only one who has a chance due to a certain effect. But make an intelligence check, and also I would like each of you to roll one of your hit dice and tell me the number that comes up. This doesn't get added to your HP. Just roll the die for your hit dice.
Even if we don't have them.
Yeah, it's not actually about. It's just about the size of the die.
Yeah.
Oh my god, pen, please.
Oh, nice. My intelligence with disadvantage is 17.
Okay, 17 intelligence. And what is your hit die roll?
It's a D6 for 5.
Okay. Kira, what was your
10.
10? You rolled.
It's an 8. It's an 8.
Yeah, it said. Oh, sorry.
Right,
I thought you said the result. A D8.
Yeah.
Do we add our constitution to it?
No. Don't add anything to it. Just the die itself. Milosh, what is yours?
2 out of 10.
2. Okay. And
So
Chansey.
-8. 4.
Okay. With a 17, let me see here. You'd have to put a guess in between 15 and 22 days have passed.
Dope.
You're not sure what you base that on because it definitely does not match the cycles of the sun that you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But you do a bit of basically you do like a bit of complex math that you immediately forget, and you come to roughly that estimation.
That's how many cycles pass between our sleeps, or that's how many
Days have
actually passed.
have actually passed out in the world.
Okay, so 15 to 20, you said.
15 to 22. That is the
22.
best estimate you can make.
Yeah. So as we're sitting, I imagine maybe we're like eating our rations or something.
Yeah.
Pulling on a beef of pulling on a chunk of beef jerky or something. I tell them, I've been thinking a little bit about this, and to me it seems like quite a lot of time has passed since we landed on the island. I estimate anywhere between 15 and 22 days have already passed.
Real days?
Real days. Of course, it's not really possible for me to say with absolute certainty, but this is my best guess. Time is passing real strange on the island.
That puts us behind schedule.
It does, but quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Darn it. Fuck.
With that in mind, because I know that you've been keeping track of, how much time do we have to get to Cora's father?
Yes, I've been keeping track of that.
So from the moment
A
you
few
set
days.
out, yeah, you had about 2 weeks left until you wanted to depart.
So, unless we speed up quite considerably and something changes due to our influence in the tower, I believe that we're kind of screwed on that front.
Is there any magic possible to get us to Cora's father quicker?
There is. Not that we have access to it, as far as I know, at least.
Yeah.
Give him a meaningful look.
And do you think it will take us that same time to return to our boat at the edge of the island?
I do think that depends on what we decide to do, which is why I bring this up. I'm assuming, based on somewhat of a hunch, but also somewhat on the information that was given to us by the animated door over there, that the tower has some form of magic in it that manipulates He kind of stops and considers each of them, Barnack, Tani, and and Myra, and kind of like, how much do they know about magical theory, really? So he lets it hang for just a tiny bit so that it's uncomfortable, but he makes it obvious he's going to continue. About time and space, based on what the door said, and based on some other clues that I've seen along the way. So I think that there might be a chance that if we go inside and we fix it, we might stop this anomaly that's creating this weird distortion of time. If we decide to turn back, however, and simply walk our way back to the ship, I think that we would take approximately the same amount of time. Now, we do still have the lady's blessing, so I'm hoping that it would actually be a shorter trek back. We wouldn't have to necessarily rest or spend an entire night here, or move as slowly as we did. So I think we have to make a decision right now. Do we go into the tower as prisoners and try to break free of whatever prison we end up in and fix the tower and or get rid of the entity inside, or do we turn back with all haste and try to still make it back to Pastitia, where we can potentially get transportation via magical means?
Well, first question, do you know of anyone in Postitia that can get us to Kor's father by magical means quickly?
Not personally, but Postitia is the seat of power in the Republic with the most prestigious arcane school. Dare I say on the continent, perhaps? We could probably find somebody with Lady Elena's help, or simply by our own means, that would be able to, for a fee, transport us. There are various types of magics that can do this.
And we have the journal of her late husband, so...
We do.
But there is the pressing question about the thing in the tower that all of us seem to be afraid of.
Correct.
What if that goes out to Postitia?
That is a very good question. Yes. I know of an item inside that was used to capture the creature.
Yep.
And I believe that I can work the item so that we fix the situation.
Okay. That gives us advantage, and don't know about you guys, but I did become a freelancer to help stop these monsters, so...
Yeah, and we do have the journal, but he could be alive inside. We don't know. I'd like to know for sure.
That too.
What do you think, Myra?
Myra's probably been sitting there the whole time, like, rubbing, like, her arms, her shoulder, kind of, like, looking back and forth between everyone. I did become a freelancer to help. And then she looks at JJ, but I'm only going to go when you give me a truthful answer. And I know I'm not losing my mind. Why is it every once in a while I just hear you ticking like a clock?
He ate a bad apple.
I just still stare at JJ, ignoring Barnack's comment.
He looks back, and very serious face. He says, "Back at the warehouse, when we all fought those spider drakes, I made a deal to get us out of there. And I think you might know." He gives a very pointed look towards her shoulder, where he saw the lines of work. And I think you might know whom with. I would assume that's why I'm taken sometimes.
Just nod and get up and start heading towards the door to the tower. And just as I pass, like, Jean-Jacques, purposely, like, making my way towards the door, and whisper, some of us didn't have a choice.
Right then, as you pass, once again, you just hear faintly, tick, tick, tick.
He gets up and starts following.
Okay, so the two of them head towards the tower. Barnack and Tani, do you just follow? Do you want to have a bit of your special
I
debate?
beside him, and I'm like, he's ticking. So does that mean that the apple is still working then? I thought it stopped when we said no.
Maybe he got it to work. He's insane. You know that he might do something like that. But maybe he's just ticking, like, on purpose, like just saying tick tock, whenever she's around. I don't know.
Maybe. Mara
but,
didn't specify.
Yeah, we should try to listen in on it. Listen, if we get captured now, let me share the cell with Jean-Jacques.
Okay.
I'll listen for ticking sounds. And Tani, isn't life easier when you don't make deals with whatever they're talking about? They always talk in metaphors and philosophy things. It's just walk and go, kill the beast and go back, help Kor's father, get money, make the world a better place. Let's go. It's just too complex for me.
Here we go.
Okay, so following a brief heart-to-heart, Tani and Barnack will join the other two as the door reforms again. This time you're approaching from a different direction, so once again this version of the door is pristine as you approach it. There's a brief pause before the magical mouth springs into existence, seemingly the door recognizing you.
I immediately say, "Oh, fuck off."
It does not
It already
respond.
hurt.
It does not respond, it just kind of turns down a little bit, like it's disappointed in you.
Yeah, it almost
As-
killed
as-
me.
As we were approaching, before we got to the mana/magic eating things,
Mhm.
Jean-Jacques would just speed up just a tiny bit to catch up with Myra and ask, I just wanted to ask you, do you have access to magic that would prevent anybody from inhibiting one's movement? I've heard of divine practitioners having access to that type of magic. I'm asking about freedom of movement.
I do.
I think that perhaps it might be prudent to use that on one of us, like, before we enter. I'm assuming that there are magical protections inside that would dispel such effects, but in case that they have malfunctioned or were not accounted for whatever reason, it could be an ace up our sleeves.
That's fair enough, though I definitely don't want to have to go in as a prisoner. But that seems like it's going to be the only way to actually get in safely. So I will cast freedom of movement on myself.
Alright. Do you take any particular steps on where to cast this spell?
I'll back up away from the
Okay.
creatures.
So, as Barnak and Tani decide to join them, Myra suddenly turns around and walks right past you guys away from the tower again. And a good, like basically out of line of sight, you're already slightly enveloped in the mist again, is where you cast the magic, and still, those of you by the tower, you watch as some of the creatures briefly begin to turn around and have a look, but can't pinpoint the source. And half a minute later, Myra is back with all of you, standing before the great door that you need to pass. So, freedom of movement is cast. You have it for 1 hour. What do you guys do at the door?
Are you all ready?
Yeah. Let's do this.
Turn towards the door and I say, we are ready to offer ourselves as prisoners until such a time when the master of the tower returns and can attend us.
There's a brief pause as the mouth already opens to speak, but doesn't. And then you hear a voice for the first time, the same voice as before, but with some emotion in it. And it seems almost not giddy, but definitely pleased. As it says, "Excellent. Please place your hand on the door now." And you watch as the hole, essentially, or the indentation where you could place your hand is replaced by one that just becomes a hole into which you seem to be able to shove your arm, and you see a brief outline of what seems to be a shackle that is waiting to close around whoever puts their hand in.
I'll go first.
I was gonna say, this was my stupid idea. I'll go first.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Watch
If I die, just carry me back.
Okay. So you put your hand in, and the shackle, you feel something metal, like cold metal, closing around your wrist, but it's gone in a moment, and you guys all watch as Barnak suddenly just gets transformed almost into energy, into that greenish hue of magic. All of the creatures around you immediately turn, but he gets sucked into the door before they can respond, and then they lose interest. The opening remains.
You can go next.
See you later, suckers.
Alright. So, identical process as Jean-Jacques puts his hand in. You feel the cold metal close around your wrist for but a moment, and then you disappear into the door.
Tani, me, the last one, I kind of look over a door and I go, I'm gonna go next, because if I'm the last one to go, I might not join you. And I'll stick my hand in.
Okay. So, courageously, Myra places her hand in, and you also are absorbed by the door. Tani.
Yep, I put the hand in.
Okay. Without hesitation. And all of you turn into shimmering beams of energy for a moment as the magical tower begins to transport you towards your destination. In this form, you still have a perception of things around you, but everything is different and distorted, and nothing has physical form. So you mainly rely on other senses, even senses that you didn't realize you had, sort of as if your soul was the thing that was actually in contact with things for the moment. As you do, everything seems fine for a short but undetermined amount of time, when suddenly you get the distinct impression of a flare of red, like a warning, and then once again. And then, if you had a physical form, it would feel like a force pulling behind your navel and dragging you in a sudden different direction. You feel as though you just blinked, and you find yourself standing in a very dark hallway And you look to one direction. It's about 15 feet across, and it goes into a darkness that no dark vision seems to be able to pierce. You look in the other direction, and it's exactly the same. And then you look again right ahead, and you see that there's a third hallway, which is narrower, only 10 feet across, which connects directly to where you are in this crossroads, essentially. Taking in the situation a bit more, you find yourself standing on what seems to be a magical glyph that is currently glowing with the green energy of magic that you've become familiar with. Slight vapors trailing off of it for all to see in this case. As you barely have time to react to this situation, suddenly, bloop, blinking into existence beside you with a funny, unnatural sound, is a humanoid shape, about as tall as Jean-Jacques, but it has no features whatsoever. In fact, it doesn't even have skin. It looks like roiling magic forced into the shape of a man. It looks around, although it has no face to do so with, but you see the head turning, and a nervous voice that doesn't seem to come from anywhere, but is very reminiscent of the voice that you had been speaking with on what we might call an intercom. And the voice suddenly goes, No, this is wrong. You're not supposed to. And it tries to push past you towards the wall behind you, the only place where there's not another corridor connecting, and it moves what seems to be a metal plate off to the side, and inside you see endless lines of this colored energy, very similar to what it has, with purple and beige and green, and the green is sort of predominant throughout, all running through these miniature tubes in the wall, going off in different directions, and there's a small glass panel which seems to have all kinds of symbols that those of you who have any knowledge of the arcane can recognize as being arcane in nature, but it is a script or a code that you've never encountered before, so none of it makes sense to you. And the creature that has just blipped into being next to you just begins frantically tapping at the glass, and it looks around and says, "Oh no, this is going to... You better get ready to defend yourselves. You aren't supposed to be here. I'm very sorry."
Defend ourselves from what?
Right as you ask that, your voice carries unnaturally far as it feels because the darkness starts so close. And as it echoes slightly, you suddenly hear something shuffling in the darkness off to the right. And then you hear the same kind of shuffling on the left. Feet dragging, but stepping unnaturally in a rhythm that no being on 2 or 4 feet should be making. And then the same sounds come up from the corridor ahead of you. There's something there, but for the moment it doesn't seem to be coming at you just yet. Now, let me move you guys over so you can have a better look.
Warrior. I'll ask
You just reminded us out of the blue about initiative. There was no intention behind it. Just, give it.
I hope you guys all can see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. So,
But yeah, I'll ask the energy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Warrior.
I'm Kiralos. I am the steward of the tower. You were supposed to be in the cells. Why aren't they in the cells? It just asks itself. Why aren't they in the cells? Why aren't they? And it just keeps tapping at the glass panel inside the wall, trying to find some information or whatever.
Are we able to move?
You are able to move, yes.
Okay, and do we have shackles on our hands?
You do not.
Okay. So I'll just kind of shuffle, seeing that I can move, I won't step towards or out of the glyph or whatever. And I'll ask him, did something intercept us? We felt a change in our trajectory. Is the denizen of this tower able to manipulate it in some way?
I don't right. I need more time to look at the logs, but right now I need to get you out of here because you will die here. You're too close. It's dragging everything closer to itself. This, and it just falls silent. It refuses to even give a name when it doesn't have one for whatever is here. But it seems very insistent that something here attracted you specifically to this location.
Did it say it dragged itself to itself? Are we part of it?
Yeah, I think it's dragging everything to it.
Oh. Then we're not part of it. Means we can kill
Well,
it.
not yet.
Kevin, did you say we're hearing things from left and right and not from the narrow one up there?
Also from the narrow one.
Energy Man, can you send us to like a lavish living room or somewhere?
I am trying, but you really need to protect yourselves because this is taking some time, and I cannot help you while I'm trying to fix the teleportation system.
Yeah, but just remember, don't get us into the prison. Get us into like a very nice area where.
Of course you are going to the prison. That is where you were destined to go. It is the error that must be corrected.
Jean-Jacques, talk to it.
And can we help you with what you're doing?
You ask it this, and there is no response. It just keeps working at like moving. From what you can tell, it's moving different like glyphs or symbols into different combinations, and then a whole new screen will come up, and it's going through what we as players might understand to be some kind of programming, but of course to the characters that is entirely alien. But it's going very systematically through this pattern and trying to find some kind of combination that will work. One thing that you do notice as you ask this and don't get a response is that the glyph at your feet has slowly been essentially cooling down. So while it was glowing brightly with magic when you arrived, that magic is slowly just evaporating off of it, leaving only the two lights on the wall as light sources with also this magical green energy concentrated into them. You get the impression that there should be more of those along the corridors, and that these should be giving more light, but that something is impeding that light from reaching you, or reaching any further than it does right now.
If you can remind me, was I told where I can find that clockwork mechanism, or was I just told that it was in the tower somewhere?
It was in the tower somewhere. As you are talking and trying to take stock of the situation, from the darkness, first from the narrow corridor, you see emerging another humanoid figure, but hunched over, almost, you think, perhaps a ghoul, until you look at it more closely, and it is like a bad interpretation of a humanoid being. It has very spiky, sort of crystalline skin that is shaped roughly into the shape of a human, or a humanoid rather, but none of it quite makes sense, and it moves with an awkward gait that gives it those strange sounds as it moves forward, and it has this head that just kind of seems to turn only sideways, the mouth also, again, long crystals, and just set into this horrifying grin, a grin that it can't even shake because that is literally its mouth closed position. You get the impression if it were to open, it would open unnaturally wide. Likewise, its claws are just completely made of crystal, and it just kind of drags itself forward, and it's just kind of looking at you, trying to take in the situation. But from the red glow in its eyes, you get the impression that these things are not essentially very friendly, and probably will not remain passive for much longer. And you see the outline of two more on the left and right, eyeing you. The glow of their eyes, the only thing that you can really clearly make out.
When I see them, I immediately cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. Very good. Shield of Faith. Anything else you guys want to do right now?
I just crouch in a ready position,
Okay.
but that's it.
Alright. So Myra invokes her deity and creates a shield of faith, this brief glimmer of light protecting you, and Tani gets ready to fight these things. Barnack and Jean-Jacques, anything you want to do to prepare? Or try anything else?
I will reach out a hand and touch Barnack's quiver. I'll cast flame arrows at 3rd level.
Okay. So the quiver lights fire immediately. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so Barnack, you have flame arrows now. Don't forget that. And I will say that as you cast this spell, in conjunction with Myra drawing attention with her spell, all of the heads kind of turn, and you watch as they shuffle forward. You realize that there's actually 2 in each corridor as they come suddenly, just leaping towards the party, trying to get into range. Let's all roll initiative. So make sure to select your token, as I said before. Oh, wait. Before we do, I forgot to clear the turn order. Please do it again if you had already done so.
Can we use the?
Yeah, you can
rolls
use
that
the
we got?
original.
Yeah, nice.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Kidding.
Okay. So, let's see here. So from the top corridor, first, this creature...
I didn't edit it in time.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I
Oh, you have a
rolled it
24.
in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty important. Okay, so from the top corridor, this creature comes, like, kind of moving forward, jumping, leaping. It's trying to mimic some kind of natural movement, but it's clear that whatever dreamt up this thing did not know humanoid beings very well. What do you do, Barnack?
Okay. I will immediately grab one of those arrows, feel its magic,
Mm-hmm.
and before I shoot, I will just, I'll go, since I'm the closest one to the left, then I'll just go haywire on the one to the left, putting a hunter's mark on it first.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just check if I can. Yeah, I can. So putting a hunter's mark on it, and then shooting at it,
Nice.
and both shots will be sharpshooter shots.
Okay.
4. Outbow, sharpshooter. That is 20 in total.
20 hits.
Okay. So that's 1d8 plus 2, 6. That is one's retarded. So okay, so that's 8 and 7, 15 plus 4, 19 damage for the first arrow.
Okay. So as you fire the first arrow, it catches fire mid-flight, not harming the arrow itself, but adding to its effect. And as you strike, you hear almost like glass shattering, or indeed crystal shattering, this weird sound, but it doesn't sound like it's happening 20 feet away from you. It sounds like it's happening 200 feet away from you. Very quiet and distant, like in a sort of chamber. And the arrow embeds itself in the chest, and like the crystal around it just shatters away. The arrow remains embedded and blazing, illuminating it from below, and you watch as it kind of struggles to move forward before just crashing over forward and to the ground, scattering into 100 pieces and dropping dead.
Okay, then I will shoot the other one if I
Okay.
can.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, you fired at the one at the top, right?
No, the one at the left.
Oh, my bad.
The
Okay.
one I'm closest to.
Very good.
And there's another one there, right? You said there are two.
There is
Or-
another one, but can you fire at creatures that you cannot see?
I will shoot at the
Uh,
one at the
You
top.
can. Okay, very good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I can see
you
that
you
one.
can attack with disadvantage. It's essentially
but-
like against an invisible creature.
Yeah, but no, I'll just shoot at the one that I can see. So I'll just shoot one and then the other one. That is 22.
That hits.
And that's worse. I think that's 15 and 4. No, that's 19 damage.
Okay, so with
Still.
the second arrow, you strike down a second creature, and you
5
hear
target.
again crystal shattering on the ground as this one also falls apart. Would you like to move anywhere?
Yes, I would like to. Well, no. Since we're on the glyph, I will. Stand
I will
on the-
point out that Tani is not on the glyph. Like she
Oh,
she
then-
appeared, but she was moved out of it when other people started appearing as well.
Then I'll move a bit further,
Okay.
just to shield everyone else.
Okay. Tani, then it's your turn next. You see one of the creatures clearly to your right, and you hear the sounds of 2 more or 3 more in the darkness, 1 in each tunnel. What would you like to do?
I saw Barnack move on that side, so I'll take a defensive point maybe over here.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I empower the tattoo, the Eldritch
Right.
tattoo thing,
Okay.
because I don't want to get close to these dudes. And I'll like make a sweeping kick towards this one, and the inky tendrils do its thing.
All right. So you move to the side, and immediately the tendrils just run down your body, down the arms, down the back, and down your legs. And as you take the kick, a shadowy replica of your foot just emerges to reach much further and deliver a kick to whatever this creature is.
Take this one then.
13.
Mm-hmm.
That hits.
Woo! Okay, let's see. 7.
Does it also add damage,
And-
the range thing?
I'm not sure if I set that up. So I'm not. I don't know. How do you? Oh wait. Okay. Anyways, I was gonna kick again.
Okay. Yeah. Just
Right.
feel free to check your damage double to
Yeah.
make sure. Okay, 12 also hits. So I'm guessing one is first a kick and then a punch.
Yeah.
So yeah, the double hit to this creature, and wow, with the 10, with the punch, you actually just shatter straight through its face. So it comes leaping, rushing forward, trying to take its movement to get towards the group and attack. But right as it starts to get up into the air, you already kick it, and it lands on the ground again with a slight crunch, and then your like shadowy fist just goes through its face, and the whole thing just explodes. And again, the sound of the crystal being destroyed is distant. It's not as present as it should be. It's as if something is not interacting correctly here. So that's your action and bonus action. Any movement?
A little bit farther, maybe here.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Very good. Then. Oh, and this one has been destroyed. There we go. So, leaping out of the top corridor is another one of these creatures, and it's going to take its full movement to jump in here, and it will attack Barnack because you fired off the arrow that killed 2 of its kind. All right, and
Yes,
it
sir,
will
I did.
and it attempts to bite you with a cocked die. That's not good. That is a 21 to hit.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
With advantage.
Advantage.
With advantage, indeed. Although creatures within 20 feet of this one that are not aberrations have disadvantage on saving throws, so actually normal roll.
So normal roll. Okay.
So it will deal 8 points of piercing damage to you, regardless of the saving throw.
That's 19 plus 2.
Okay, so you
21.
succeed on the wisdom saving throw, but you do take 8 points of piercing damage as it just like clamps down on your shoulder and just takes a big bite, trying to, almost like a dog, drag you backwards, having seemingly maybe forgotten that it has claws and hands in the first place.
I spit blood.
Alright, and this one's going to come
So
rushing
Been doing a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
right at Tani, and it is going to take its attack as well. Wow, another 21 to hit. So Tani, 21 to hit you. I think that hits, right?
Absolutely.
So also please make a wisdom saving throw, a normal roll, because you get advantage from the blessing, disadvantage from the creature itself.
Wisdom saving throw. Here we go. 18 in total.
Okay, so you succeed as well. You feel something tugging, you and Barnack both feel something tugging at your mind, but you manage to discard whatever effect that might be. It feels incredibly alien and stranger than anything that, well, than many things that you felt before. You've felt some alien things, especially reminiscent this is of that time you spent very deep underground with another strangely alien creature in the vicinity. But Tani, you do take 5 points of piercing damage as it does bite into your arm. So essentially you just put up the arm and you manage to push it off, but it does leave a scrape on your arm. And next up is the last of these, and it is going to come, rushing at Barnack as well. You have definitely put yourself in the middle of it.
Bring it on. Yeah,
That is a 19 to hit.
that hits.
Damn, I'm rolling so
Wisdom?
good again. Another wisdom saving throw, please, yes. Why can't I roll like this when I'm on the ruined keep?
I'm rolling wisdom saving throws at least 12. That's in total 20. So 21 and 20.
Nice.
versus wisdom
So, and you take 3 points of piercing damage. So yeah, once again you feel that strange presence, something. It's like having someone in the periphery of your vision, and it's begging you to look at it, and you manage to choose not to look at it, whatever it is. Jean-Jacques, it is your turn.
I'll stay where I am and targeting the two that are flanking Barnack. I'm going to expend 1 sorcery point to cast Chromatic Orb at first level, and I'll designate the damage as... You said they're comprised of metal and crystal?
Mainly crystal, as
okay.
far as you can tell.
Then I'll choose Thunder.
Okay.
Thunder! So the left one is 22 to hit.
That hits.
The top one is a 13 to hit.
Also hits.
Okay. So the left one gets, I believe this is 38. It is 100, 2d8. Oh, where's the rest of my dice? 1 second, sorry. So the first one gets 11 points of damage, so that's the left one.
Okay.
And the other one gets 14, 20 points of damage. And actually, if you'll allow it, I'll just I will have moved here.
Okay.
I cast the spell, so they get the damage. They get plus an additional 4.
But hold on. But if you are in melee range, you would have disadvantage on the attack roll.
That is correct. Never mind then.
There you go.
That's it.
All right. Look at us. Okay, so that was 20 on the second one, which means that as the chromatic orb impacts on the second one, it just merges with the crystalline structure, and you realize, despite everything and the strange sounds and the strange nature of everything around you, they are still very much made of physical materials. So as it impacts the creature, it just seems to kind of embed itself in the chest, and then just there's just an explosion. Thankfully, most of it just gets blasted backwards because, of course, it's still entered from the front. But once again, you hear the sound of glass or crystal shattering at a very great distance. Would you like to move after you've cast your spell?
Yeah, I'll just move here so that I have. You think I'll have better vision that way if something comes from. Yeah. Well, I moved here to get the. Yeah, I'll just move here.
Okay, bless you. Okay, Myra. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look around. Not liking any of this. I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame on the one on the left.
All right. It must make a Dex saving throw.
Yep.
And that is a natural 1, so it fails. So go ahead and roll your damage. 9 points of damage. Wow. All right. So as you invoke this magic, right? Normally you conjure essentially a pillar of radiant flame down on these creatures, and it's a very noticeable spell effect. As you do it here, it doesn't actually come into being until it's right above the creature. Everything else, even the ceiling itself, is coated in this unnatural darkness, and even your at least this level of divine power and invocation doesn't do anything to dispel that. So it impacts the creature and it reduces that to shattered crystal, but it does not nearly have the impact and effect that it would normally have, or that you would expect from such a spell. Okay. Only one left on the battlefield. That was your action. Would you like to move or bonus action anything, Mara? I can't hear you, just FYI.
Just moving closer to the wall.
Okay. Very good. So as you move closer, you're probably the first one who can pay a little attention to Kiralos as they fiddle with the panel on the wall, and you just hear repeated curses, but very mild ones, like, oh, mother's milk and things like that, but also in other languages that you don't recognize, as if it's cycling through just an endless library of knowledge as it is focused on this task. It seems very frustrated with the situation. Barnak, before your turn, all of you, as you look around and listen especially, in addition to the mostly quiet but still the sound of the feet on the ground from the creature that you've already seen, you hear now other steps, and among them a slight vibration, as coming down the hallways it seems that there are far larger things that are making their way towards you. But first I have some initiatives to roll real quick. And bear with me.
Kevin, stop.
Alright, Barnak, it is your turn.
So high. Also, how many creatures? Okay.
Maybe these are friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Barnak, what would you like to do?
May I turn to the thing next to us and say, "You're taking your sweet time. Come on, come on." And then I'll just turn around, and I guess because I don't see anything else, I will go forward a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So that is 10 feet. Yeah, so I see both of these things now.
Yeah.
What do I see? What is the other thing that I see?
Hold on, let me check what your exact vision would be. Okay. So, looming out of the shadows is a creature that seems to have, again, slightly humanoid shape, but much less similar than the ones that you've been fighting so far. And it has multiple arms that seem to sort of end in blade-like claws.
Nope.
And it's, as opposed to the ones that you saw, which were of a sort of clear crystal, and really, it tried to mimic humans or humanoids as closely as possible, or elves. This is much more alien, and you just see a face that's that doesn't make sense with two beady eyes set in it, and it's just kind of stalking down the corridor, trying to get towards all of you. And as you come into vision, it also briefly stops and sizes you up in turn, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, keep watching. I'll just turn around to everyone and say, I'll kill the little ones. You kill the octopus thing. And I'll shoot my first
Great, thanks,
shot.
Barnack.
Yeah, I'll shoot my first shot at the big one, at the small one.
Okay.
That will be another sharpshooter shot, which is in total a 16.
And that hits.
Okay, so I still have more fire arrows, right? Yeah, I do. So,
Yeah, I think it remains in concentration, right?
Yeah, you got 10 shots.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
So I rolled
No.
a 1 on my bow, but I get, as a piercer feat, I can re-roll that one.
Okay, good.
So I have to use this one, which I will, which is an 8. So 8 and 5 is 13, and 4, 17.
17. So as you strike
At
the smaller one, once again, it's a repeat of before. Strikes in the chest, the flaming arrow just begins to melt away and crack the crystal completely, and it shatters as it falls to the ground.
Okay. Well, let's then see what the big one is about. I'll move my hunter's mark to it,
Okay.
so I have more damage, and I will shoot at it, and again with sharpshooter shot.
Okay.
Which, it's good, but +3. Yeah, +3 in total. So that is 21.
That hits.
And that is 12 plus 4, 16 damage. 5 is fire.
16 damage, 5 is fire. Okay. As you strike into this creature, you realize that its skin is not comprised of any sort of crystal. It does seem to be flesh, the way that it interacts with your arrow. But it is, the arrow strikes and the fire around it briefly illuminates part of the creature, at least the part of it that's sort of leaning out of the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And as it does so, you see it's flesh, but again, it's an imitation of flesh that doesn't make sense. It is completely blackened as if by some sickness, and it is both leathery and yet completely hard, like carapace as well. Nonetheless, your arrow has struck true and briefly illuminated it before just dying out, as if something on the creature just sucks the energy out of the magic, but not before it deals its damage. So that was 16, you said, right?
16, yep.
Yeah.
With a hunter's mark. And I will move back 3 paces, stand here,
Okay.
and say, Myra, please, get in front of me, please.
Okay. So that's the end of your turn, Barnack. One of the creatures will go now. Tani, you are on deck right after the creature. The one that you just attacked, Barnack, it briefly pauses, it seems, and because you move away, you lose vision of it, and then suddenly you just hear footsteps rushing and then skittering, and where you expect it to come leaping out of the darkness in front of you, it's actually walking on the wall to the side, and then suddenly leaps and jumps at you and takes all of its attacks, or rather its special attack here, for which it will make 6 claw attacks against you.
Can I at least put my hands up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No, not like that, like this.
Put your hands up. Yeah.
Not the face! Not the moneymaker!
Okay, that's 3, 4,
By the way, you have 12 pieces of ammunition with fire, Barnack, so it's effectively 6 rounds for you, I think.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I lose concentration.
So that's 2 natural ones. That's good.
Perfect.
But there is one natural 20 in there as well.
I was gonna ask how many natural 20s.
No, so one nat 20, and then the others are... Let me see how much pluses. Is a 17 to hit you, Barnack?
Okay.
That hits?
I believe so. Let me check in a moment, but
Okay.
yes.
And does a 15 hit you as well?
15 doesn't, so 3
Okay.
hit me.
3 hit,
Wait.
3 miss, and one of those hits is critical.
What's
Okay.
so a critical, a 17, and
An 18.
an 18. Yeah. Oh, hit.
Okay. So let me just move those to the side, and we'll do the crit first. That will be this plus these two. So that will be 22 points of damage, of which 14 is slashing. Sorry, hold on. I missed. That's 26 points of damage, of which 18 is slashing, and 8 is psychic damage. So 26. And then from the other two,
I'm not.
you take 2 psychic, and let me do that again. Oh, 2 and so 13 psychic total from the next 2 attacks. And
Let's go attack by attack because I think I'm down from the
okay,
second
so
attack.
the second one was 7 points of slashing and 2 psychic damage.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
So the third attack hits me.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should have done these in order because I forgot how low you were.
That's fine.
So I will roll the third attack advantage just to see if it crits. Or rather, no, it hits anyway, so you're down, so it crits regardless, and you take 2 death savings throws immediately.
Yeah.
So you guys watch as the creature runs on the wall, leaps at Barnack, misses twice with 2 of its attacks, but 4 more arms just come bearing down, and 3 of them actually hit. And the third one, like, it knocks Barnack down, and it just buries the bladed arm straight into his stomach and rips it out, and you just hear a gurgle from Barnack as he begins very rapidly to die.
Very rapidly is the word here. Yes.
Tani, you hear
I'm not loving this.
a scuffle behind you, but you are face to face with one of these creatures. What would you like to do?
I look behind me. I need to finish this off, so I'll do like a kick to the chest, like Sparta. You know?
Okay, okay.
Kick in front
Nice.
to the
Yeah.
chest. Try to finish this one. Let's see. 13.
13 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Let's see if I did this correctly. Because I should have an extra.
Right. Okay, so what happens is you take a step back, and as you Sparta kick it to the chest, your shadowy foot actually pushes through the entire chest and just breaks through the whole thing, and the whole creature just shatters around your kick off to the sides, and as you stand back, like, on your feet, it's just completely gone. There's just shattered remnants around you.
That'll do. So I go to Barnack.
Oh, yeah, and
Is the creature still?
Yes, apologies, the creature is here. And yeah.
I'll try to drag Barnack like a little bit away, at least 5 feet.
Okay, I'll allow 5 feet for a bonus action for you because you have the skills for that. But yeah, so you drag Barnack away, which means it's not his movement, so it does not invoke attacks of opportunity.
And then I
Yeah.
jump in front. I'll be brave.
Okay.
And I'll try to kick that one too.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Sure.
12.
As you go to kick this one again, the horror of seeing your friend Barnack so close to death. I mean, you guys have been in scrapes before. It's been like you've been close to dying before, but this is such a gruesome wound, it seems to leave its mark, because as you go to kick, the creature actually just absorbs it on the chest, and there's just not enough force behind it to actually push it away or deal any damage through its leathery, unnatural hide. Okay. Next up is another of these creatures, which is going to come rushing from the right-hand corridor, and once again, despite knowing that these things can do this, your first instinct is to look at the darkness right in front of you, expecting it to leap out, but this one actually comes across the ceiling and then jumps on top of Myra, taking all of its attacks against her as well. So we'll go in order here this time. Attack number 1 is a 24 to hit. Okay. Attack number 2 is a 22 to hit. Attack number 3 is a 24 to hit. Attack number 4 is a 2, so that is very low. So that does not hit. No, attack number 5 is going to be a 13 to hit, which that wouldn't hit Myra, right?
No.
And attack number 6 is going to be a 20 to hit. Oof. Okay. In that case, let's roll some damage. You don't have any special resistances to psychic, right? So I can add them all together. Okay. That will be 16 points of damage on the first attack.
Shield of Faith are gone.
That should still be there with a 14 con save.
Oh yeah. Is it,
Yeah.
How
So-
much was the first amount of damage?
16. Yeah, so you only had to roll a 10 for the con save.
Yeah.
The second attack will be 8 points of damage. And the third attack that hits will be 13 points of damage. And the fourth attack that hit will be max fucking rolls almost. Will be 16 points of damage. Okay. So yeah, this creature also emerges and just begins to lay into Myra, and almost lays her low apparently. Oof. Let me see here. Okay. Then, after that turn, out of the northern corridor, the top corridor, comes a third, barreling down angrily. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can't actually make it all the way. So this one actually comes to this point, like partially perched on the wall, like in this in part of the ceiling where it just is emerging from the shadows that have kind of coalesced like a cloud. And as it gets to there, rather than leaping at any single person, it kind of shrinks back into the darkness, and it will take the hide action. Okay. What is everyone's passive perception, starting with Jean-Jacques?
12.
Okay, so you don't see it. Tani, what's your passive perception?
Where is it in this?
It's 10 plus your perception, I think, so if that's easier.
10 plus perception.
Right? Or
Perception
10 plus wisdom?
Wisdom.
13?
13, okay. Milosh, what is yours?
Mine is 0. I'm
Right.
dead.
Right, in case you wake up instead of dying.
Yeah, in case I wake up instead of dying, I think 16, but let me check.
Okay.
It is passive perception is 15.
Okay, so Tani and Barnak, if you wake up, you can see it. And Myra, what's your passive perception? 15. Okay, so you can also see it still. It's just Jean-Jacques who's kind of lost track of it in the heat of battle as it retreats into the darkness. Okay. Jean-Jacques, that makes it your turn. It actually, yeah.
How hurt does Myra look to me?
pretty wounded.
Okay. I will, with my back turned to the group, I will close my eyes and concentrate on my timepiece, and I will cast Time Stop.
Okay. So, yeah, you can roll for the number of rounds.
4. It's a 1. But that's 2 rounds, I believe, then, right? If I remember correctly. Time Stop. Second. Yeah, 1d4 plus 1. So I rolled a 1, so I get 2 rounds. So on my first round, I will grab a healing potion off my belt, which is a potion of greater healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will try and do what I did in the warehouse fight, and I will put it on Barnak's mouth so that it slowly starts dripping, but doesn't immediately heal him.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Then looking at, so that would be an action, right?
Yes, that is your first action there, and I would say do make a dexterity check. If some of the potion spills, it will just reduce its effectiveness and not necessarily eliminate it altogether.
8.
Okay, so I'll say the greater is what, 4d4 plus 4?
4d4 plus 4.
Yeah, so I'll say it's 3d4 plus 4.
Okay. First action. Then I'll move.
Who rolls it? 3d4 plus 4. Do you roll it? Or
You will once the
You will, yeah.
the round comes to it. How many rounds did you get again? Sorry, I was distracted.
2.
2. Okay. Oh, that's unlucky, dude.
Yeah.
I will say, by the way, as you are in the time stop mode, the first thing, of course, is you provide the potion to Barnack. As you take a look around, the whole darkness around you has briefly retreated, and you can see it's almost like the effect only works when time is moving. But now you can kind of see at least outlines of creatures. You see very long hallways in all directions, and maybe like 200 feet down each of them is an enormous hulking monstrosity in the same vein as these things that is slowly shuffling its way towards all of you.
Great. Okay. Retrieving something from my pack. Is that an action or a bonus action?
I'm pretty sure you can
Or part of my move?
I think you can do that for free. It's just like interacting with an object. Like you have one interact with object for free per round, so.
Alright, so I'll retrieve something from my pack and kind of nestle it in the kind of pouch where I keep my bonus action potion.
Okay.
So that I can quickly use it if I need to. And then on my second round, I will use 2 sorcery points to twin a second level chromatic orb.
Okay.
And I will target the one that's right immediately next to Tani and the one that's immediately next to Myra. With my... Both of whom are within 10 feet, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So they'll take the extra damage. So the first one would be the one next to Tani.
Mm-hmm.
Is a 29 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And the second one is a 25 to hit.
Okay, that'll hit. What type of damage are you using?
I will use... They looked fleshy, right? So
They
there
looked fleshy.
doesn't seem to be... I will use acid. for this
Okay.
one. Actually, sorry, no. I'll use... I will use lightning damage, because I need this for this. Let me just double check, because it says... In addition, whenever you cast a casting spell of first level or higher that deals lightning or thunder. So I'll use
Okay.
lightning.
Alright.
Okay, and that is... I believe... 3d8, 4d8.
To each of them.
Okay, so first, the one next to Tani.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's 10, 15, 16.
Okay.
The other one, even worse. 9 points of damage.
Oof. You don't have any rerolls on damage dice? By any chance from a feat or whatever?
No. We do not.
Okay, so what happens is the following, essentially, for the rest of you, in terms of your perception, is you suddenly see Jean-Jacques move incredibly quickly. Because it's not that many rounds, so it's not like he suddenly pops up in a different place, but he just begins to move at lightning fast speed. And immediately the potion is tipped over into Barnack's mouth, and 2 balls of lightning get thrown at the 2 creatures that have come up and savaged the group so far. And then if you want to move, you can move at the end of your round.
Yeah, I will, and if you'll allow it, I will say... Oh, they also take an extra 4 damage.
Ah, nice.
Equal to half your sorcerer level, so yeah, 4 damage to both of them additionally. I'll move next to this one here, and as an aside, I'll just say to the energy dude, like, you better hurry up, because there's something real big on each side coming to get us.
The hooks, I know, I'm working on it! Okay, that's the end of your turn.
The end of my turn.
Okay. One of these creatures comes rushing forward on to...
I get health, right? I roll.
Yes.
Right, yeah, go ahead and roll your 3d4 plus 4.
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
that is 4, 3, 2 plus 4. So that's
4,
9,
3, 2.
4, 13 health.
Yeah. So you regain 13 health, and you do have a bit of health potion just dripping down the side of your face as the moment that you wake up, the potion itself, of course, not being supported by anything, just kind of gets stuck in your mouth, so you probably have to spit that out and break the vial. Barnack, you also get inspiration from Simon. Thank you, Simon, for you to get the fuck up. So, good luck.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I'll try.
All right. However, as you awaken, you hear more footsteps, and one of the smaller crystalline creatures comes out of the darkness and is going to take an attack against Jean-Jacques. And actually, yeah, it's very good that you didn't have to make any death saving throws, because these things give disadvantage on all saving throws. That is a 10 to hit Jean-Jacques, which I don't think will hit.
Is?
So yeah, it will try to take a bite out of you, but thankfully, you know, you're fired up. You just came out of a time stop. You're in the middle of the moment, and you just kind of dodge out of the way. You just watch these enormous crystalline jaws just try to break on your shoulder and failing. Next up is another one of these creatures, which is going to be coming down the mountain. No, wait. Oh, this is the one that. Wait, I did them in the wrong order. Well, anyway, the other one is going to come down, and it's just going to move most of its speed. 4, 6. So you hear from the top corridor another set of footsteps as another one of these crystalline creatures is making its way towards you. The very now distinct footfalls of the crystal, something you can start to recognize, even as you don't see them yet. Myra, it is your turn.
I don't know what the fuck I want to do. There's so many options, and they all are just terrible. I don't have any potions, which really sucks. And I don't want to die or have that thing trigger, so I'm going to cast Resilient Spear on myself.
Okay. How large is that?
It encapsulates a medium or a large creature.
Okay.
It doesn't really have a size.
Okay.
I can put it in chat real quick.
So you want to cast it on yourself, right? Not on the creature next to you? Okay.
Yeah, I want to cast it on myself because I'm at 10 HP. I just want to kind of roll on out of there soon.
Okay. Make an Arcana check as you're getting ready to cast it.
God damn it. They're good.
as you get ready to cast it, you're not sure if this will inhibit anyone's ability to teleport you. So it's possible, you think, that you might be left behind even if the teleport does function.
Fuck.
So nothing's wasted yet by the time that you have this thought, but it is pertinent information and you may choose to act accordingly. You're not sure. You're definitely not sure. You know, it's like your understanding of the nature of magic. This is something that you would love to, for example, ask Jean-Jacques about probably. You simply don't have the time in the middle of combat to get that sorted.
They use Spirit Guardians then?
Okay. That can work. It's up to you. You can also still cast the sphere.
No, that seems like a bad idea. I don't want to be stuck here by myself.
Okay. So you cast Spirit Guardians instead?
Hmm?
Okay. So I believe that, as we determined 3 years ago, all the creatures will make their saving throws at the start of their turns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Long-standing agreement.
Well, that is RAI.
That is the proper ruling.
It really is.
Sorry, the
I will
three of
say
us just
that-
having flashbacks.
The Guardians themselves look very familiar to what Pernak and Tani looked like before, along with some other people that are...
So yeah, Myra conjures up the images of people several times over to dance around her and protect her from danger in this darkest of places.
Do they appear to the rest of us as angelic or fiendish?
more angelic.
Okay.
But
Alright.
definitely, at
Myra's
least
getting
two
her
of the images are familiar.
Okay, let me see here. 15. There we go. That is a 15-foot circle. Yeah, I will say, having this spell up, also where they kind of move around and where the light shines, it creates a much clearer barrier between darkness and where you can see. Where previously it was kind of abstract and it was flowing into one another, here, like it's like you're suddenly in a bubble, and there's a very clear distinction between safe and not safe, essentially. Okay, that is your action, Myra. Anything for bonus action? I don't think so, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Barnack Stoneheart.
Okay. I'll get up using half my movement speed,
Okay.
and my concentration failed when I went unconscious, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I will, as a bonus action, cast another Hunter's Mark. Because... Hold on, no. As a bonus action, I will drink my potion.
There you go.
That's a bit better, I think. Although I have the small potion, so that's 2d4 plus 2.
That is correct.
And that is 5 and 2, 7 health. So as a bonus action, I'm getting a bit of health back. And as an action, Jean-Jacques' arrows are still in effect, though, right?
Yes.
Perfect. I will shoot at the one that almost killed me.
Time stop is not concentration.
Yeah, good.
Perfect. I will shoot at the one that almost killed me, so the one that's next to Tani,
Okay.
twice with sharpshooter, and yeah, that's
Okay.
happening.
So probably in a maneuver that you guys used to practice all the time, like you shoot right past Tani. Tani, you feel the arrow kind of poke into your side, and you just move very slightly aside, and woof, woof, the arrows
I just
come.
I just say duck. And the first time it happened, Tani said where, and I said, "What do you mean where? Where is it?" And we actually confused ourselves, but now we know that it's dodge. Okay, so 2 strikes.
Yes. Is
And
this
that
sharpshooter?
Yeah, both are
Okay.
sharpshooter. Okay, so the first one is in total 17.
17 hits.
Okay, the second one is 21. So
Also hits.
that one then hits. Yeah.
Yes.
So without Hunter's Mark, it's only 1d6 extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is almost max damage, so that is plus 4. That is 15 plus 4, 19 damage.
Is that including your 10
Uh,
from the
which
sharpshooter?
it's not. I haven't been including that at all.
I was wondering about that just
Thank
now.
you.
I was like,
So
huh.
that is 29 damage.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's okay. 29 damage, and the second one is 9 plus 4. That's 13, and 10. That's 23. So 29 and 23.
All right, so this time Tani does not look for the
Important.
duck, and instead makes room for you to shoot. And both arrows fire, and within milliseconds find their mark. And one arrow sticks in the chest, one arrow sticks in the head, and with both struck so precisely, so perfectly, the creature's arms just kind of go limp, and it just falls over backwards with a crash. And you watch as you've seen creatures do strange things upon dying. You watch as this one doesn't shatter, it doesn't just die, but rather it begins to evaporate into the smoky darkness around you. It seems to be adding more to it, and you gather the impression that maybe that's also where it came from. Okay.
Trail nerves.
And I will just stay there. And
Okay. I assume you do get to your feet.
I did that first.
Yeah. Okay. Tani, it is your turn.
My plan is, okay, as usual, unarmored strikes towards this one, and eventually maybe spend a key point for flurry of blows.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
thank goodness I have that tattoo. I don't want to get close. 22 to hit.
22 hits.
Yeah. And, okay, that's
Okay,
the first one.
nice. So 14 points of damage.
11, I'm not sure about that one.
11, unfortunately. So with the first strike, you're targeting something that is doing its best to hide in the shadows from which it was birthed. So as you strike the first one, you do feel that kind of feedback that you've hit it. With the second one, you just feel raw stone, and you realize that it moved out of the way, at least the portion of its body that you would have struck with the second attack. What do you want to do with your bonus action?
So I'll spend a key point for flurry of blows.
Okay.
And one of the open hand techniques with flurry of blows is make a strength saving throw. If it fails, I can push it up to 15 away. 15
Okay.
feet away. So let's see.
I would say you can also knock it prone and see if it falls off the ceiling, because it's definitely holding on physically to stay there.
What would be better, prone or pushing it away? Maybe, yeah, prone. Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, in 11, however, the same movement repeats itself. You strike where you think its head would be, and instead you just, you see it almost like an illusion of two glowing eyes, as it seems to have moved out of the way.
Next one is 13.
Let me double check
Lucky
that.
rolls.
It does not hit. So, very quickly, you try 2 additional strikes, but both times the shadowy essence just mingles with each other and you don't strike true. And maybe for a moment you might even wonder, maybe the shadowy nature of the magic that you're using, maybe it's having some kind of trouble interacting with whatever this thing is hiding in. But before that thought can coalesce, all of you suddenly feel a pull behind your navel, and you are once again vaporized, effectively, and your perception changes unexpectedly, and you are dragged through the ether before suddenly blinking and finding yourselves standing in very tiny rooms, and a voice from the same creature that was helping you, no longer visible, but the voice still comes to you as it says, "Thank you so much for your help. I really apologize for the diversion, but please make yourselves comfortable, and I will be here to release you as soon as the master returns." And then the voice just disappears, and I will show you guys where you are. As you look around, you have bars, effectively doors, on several sides of your cell, which lead seemingly to other cells. But in between the space, there's nothing. There's no walkway. There is, in fact, just an ethereal darkness that stretches out in all directions. And if you get close to the bars, looking in the distance, you do see swirls of energy and magic and stardust in the way that you had seen once before when you helped free an old elven mage from a tomb. And those of you, well, in due time, each of you can deduce this fairly well. This seems to be tethered in the ethereal plane. But yeah, all of you effectively just have the sight of the cells around you. On the sides where there are cells, and on the sides where there are none, there's just a wall. There's also a small glyph in the corner of each cell, and in fact, once you arrived, in the corner of each cell appeared almost immediately a small plate, like a serving plate, with like a bowl of food, a bit of stew in it, some water, and in fact some paper and a pencil to write with as well. And that appeared for you almost immediately, but you are out of danger suddenly, unexpectedly, and instead you are prisoners in the Tower of Danos.
Just what we wanted.
Step 1 complete.
Okay.
Now for the next step. Jean-Jacques, get us out of here.
Hold on. Okay, so now, Jean-Jacques, if you could on Discord mute everyone except Myra.
Okay.
Barnack, if you could mute Jean-Jacques. And Tani, if you could mute everyone except me.
Everyone except Myra. Including yourself, or?
No, not me, Dungeon Master, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so I only mute Jean-Jacques.
Alright, because we
Yep.
can't hear...
You can't hear the
Gee.
people that are too
Oh
far
my.
away.
You fucking douche.
Come on, this is gonna be fun.
Danny,
Alright.
Danny, can you hear me?
I'm gonna...
Danny!
Looking towards Myra, I'll just
I
ask her,
tried to
Myra,
look
are you
for-
okay? You got quite a beating over there.
Not okay. And I'm not even worried about the internal bleeding I have.
Who said that?
Oh, alright.
Chansey? Chansey, can you hear me?
Well, I'm gonna look around. I don't know if you could talk to the others, but tell them to take a look around their cells, see if there's anything there that we can use to get out, or yeah.
Okay, so indeed, Myra, you've heard both Barnack and Jean-Jacques, and indeed, if you go to the cell doors, you can actually see them moving around in their cells as well. Tani, you have only heard distantly voices, but you can't make out what they're saying. And yeah, they sound vaguely familiar, so you can probably deduce that your friends are nearby, but the space between the cells is causing the sound to drop off much more quickly than it should. So this is a challenge for you. I will say for now, Tani, if you want to do anything specific, feel free to whisper it to me, and I'll just answer you here, but that'll just facilitate communications a bit. And Nicola and Milos, you're going to have to look at each other just a little bit to see if you're not speaking over each other.
I'll just sit cross-legged, and that's...
So I'll investigate my chamber to
Okay.
see if there's
roll-
any sign of...
Roll investigation on Jean-Jacques.
$11.
Okay. Honestly, regardless of the height of the roll, you're done fairly quickly. There aren't any nooks and crannies in which things could be hidden. It is just a very bare bones cell. It has a light, which is currently turned on, providing that soft, diffused glow. And it has a very simple bed, a hole in the ground in the corner with a lid on it, which you could quickly gather what that might be for. And yeah, a small teleportation circle into which basic supplies can be teleported to you fairly easily. And in fact, for those of you, if any of you have removed the food from there and put it on the table, pretty quickly after just appears a very simple normal bucket with water, clear, clean water in it, in case you want to wash, take care of anything, simple stuff.
Is there a cell door?
Yes, the door for you, the bottom and on the left are both doors, the small, narrow parts of the wall.
And do they have physical locks?
As far as you can tell, there are no locks whatsoever. They're just bars that are completely in place, barring you from leaving.
I kind of look between Jean-Jacques and Barnett. Go, I think I have a plan, at least to get us three connected.
Oh,
Right.
what did you say? Something, Myra? I just get to her. Do I see her?
Yeah, you can see it. They're just bars. You can literally look each other in the eye.
Myra, there's no one else here.
I will use emboldening bind on myself, Jean-Jacques, and Barnack.
Okay.
Barnack, I know it's gonna hurt, but can you slam your head into the wall? Jean-Jacques,
Yeah.
be prepared to get a headache.
Okay, that is sure. And just slam my head against the bars because I'll try to actually break the bars as well.
Okay, make an unarmed strike. So that will be d20 plus your strength modifier.
I mean minus.
Well, plus your minus then.
Yeah. Let me just check. Yeah, -2. Okay. That is 16 minus 2. That's 14.
Okay. I will say you deal 3 points of damage to yourself and the bars. So, Chansey, I don't know how
And
that
jump
splits.
and take that damage.
Jean-Jacques takes that damage.
Right.
And
So,
then jump to Barnack.
Barnack, you impact the bars, but you feel pretty good actually as you move away, and there's no mark on your face, and instead, Jean-Jacques appears in your place with his head against the bars, with fucking massive headache.
Oh, this is good.
Oh,
Hi,
no, that's
Jean-Jacques.
Barnack's voice.
Yeah,
This
you
is
can
perfect.
unmute each other again.
Wait.
Jean-Jacques, can you punch Barnack? I'd ask for the other way around, but I think Barnack's stronger.
Immediately, I swing around and punch Barnack straight in the nose. Without a second's pause. Just whack!
Okay. Make an unarmed strike. I don't think he can really miss because he's not trying to dodge as far as I understand, but...
Well, 9.
Nah, that's fine. As long as Barnack is
I'll-
not
I'll
trying to
just
move.
Smile.
So yeah, you go for the punch, and then Myra, you can take your action. So what is your strength modifier, Jean-Jacques? 0. Okay, so Myra, as you
1.
appear, because this is just a regular punch, I'll say Barnack gets moved a little to the side, and you take the punch essentially. So Myra, you take 1 point of damage as Jean-Jacques probably just punches you in the shoulder because that's about the height that Barnack is at, where his face would be. So it's just, I just feel the punch in the shoulder.
Probably hurts me more. Ah, fucking damn it.
This is
Now we have
Myra.
to get to Tommy.
This was amazing, Myra. This was amazing. Holy
Very
shit!
good thinking, Myra.
Yeah, you're getting a raise for this.
No,
Be
it's not
sure I
hasty,
have
Barnack.
hazard pay that I need to be given.
There's no hazard pay.
As you guys are standing there, and Tani, this does not go for you, but for the other three, the light in the room goes from this very gentle, normal color to a dark red, and it just starts kind of flashing again, similar to the warning sign that you received earlier. You gather fairly easily, I think, that it is not pleased to have 3 individuals in a chamber made for 1.
Yeah, I guess we could have anticipated that one. How much damage did I take, by the way? Was it 3?
You took 3, yes, because he was attacking the bars with his forehead, so I allowed him a little more effort, but yeah, it's also more painful.
Okay, so something might come up here and get us. What do we do? How do we get out of here? I don't understand it. I
I
can.
have no idea.
Okay, should we break the bars? They seem like normal bars.
I somehow don't think that will work because they don't have locks. So I'm imagining they're magically augmented bars. I think we might need to try and convince our jailer to allow us to try and fix the situation. Because I'm thinking that if we manage to persuade it that letting us free to go and deal with the situation is actually protecting the tower, it might be able to accept that.
I understand. Where's Tani though?
She's over yonder.
Where?
Okay, as you guys discuss, I'm gonna quickly move Tani to a different room, and deal with that a little bit. So we'll be right back. Hey, Kira. Okay, so as they're in their room, you sitting cross-legged and meditating, you hear a quiet muttering of that same voice that was helping you guys earlier. And looking out of the door, you see, or rather out of one of the barred entry and exit ways to your cell, you see the vague outline of this creature hovering in the space between the cells, and it's got its hands on the side of the wall of the next cell over, and it's just peering around the edge, looking at another cell that you can't see, but it's just kind of like, oh, no, what are they doing? Oh, they're just supposed to wait. The master's not coming home. Why? No. What should I do? I don't. And it keeps muttering nervously like this. Is there anything you would like to do?
So I can hear. Can I tell if he's noticed me?
It does not.
He's just paying attention to them, right?
It is just paying attention to them for the moment.
Okay.
Although you gather that it must have probably come by your cell to get to that point, if it, floated by, at which point it would have definitely seen you in your cell. But it doesn't seem to be paying you any mind, even if it has noticed you.
Hey, his name was Kiralos, right? So I'll be like, hey, Kiralos, a question.
What? Hello? And it kind of comes floating over to the right door of your cell. And you see the completely empty face with those swirling colors seemingly paying attention to you, but it definitely turns its head back the way that it was looking earlier.
Don't worry about my friends. We did say we were willingly gonna be prisoners.
Yes.
I don't know what
did.
they're doing, but don't worry. We'll be prisoners for the meantime.
But they're working on not being prisoners. They shouldn't be prisoners, but I cannot change it. You have to. It's the master's command. I can't break the master's command, but
Were you the voice that we heard back outside? You sound a bit different. Your tone is a bit more nervous.
it just kind of pauses and hesitates, almost like, okay, so this is again just for your perception as a player, but almost like a machine that doesn't have a programmed response to what you've just asked it.
Okay.
But it definitely seems pensive about the situation.
Okay, the question I wanted to ask you is, we're looking for this Lord Sordenbrand. Is he here in one of these cells? Can you tell me something about him? Do you know?
There are only 5 living creatures within the containment cells as of this moment.
So,
Lady Edeah is
count,
not
like-
one of them.
okay, so I have 3 friends here. We're 4. You said 5.
There are more containment cells.
Okay. So this person is alive? This Lord Sordenbrand?
Lady Edeah is alive, within the tower. That identification has been granted.
You mean her body? Her entire being is alive?
The identification Lady Edeah has been granted entry into the tower as of 8 days ago. 3 days. 4 hours. Alive.
Just her. No Lord Sordenbrand.
Sordenbrand unknown.
Going back to your door self, okay.
Your friends need to get back to their cells. They belong in their cells. They have to wait in their cells. If they escape, they have to do it fast, otherwise security will come. You cannot walk the tower without identification. You must be
And what is
identified.
security? Is it the monsters that we saw before?
They do not belong in the tower. They are wrong. The master contained the source, but containment is failing.
My friends and I can help contain that.
Negative. I cannot allow you to leave the cells willingly. I have no autonomy. Please implore your friends to go back to their cells. You will not be able to wander the tower without identification for long. It will not be safe. The master does not wish any harm to come to you, to visitors that he does not yet know.
Well, I can't really hear them from my cell. Can you help me move to a closer one? Can that be done? To help them. To stop.
That is acceptable. Come. And it floats over to the other cell door, and it just waves a hand, and all of the bars just move into the wall next to it, with a very distinct mechanical grinding, by the way. And the same thing happens with the cell one door over, and it just extends a hand to you. Do you accept it?
Mm-hmm.
So as you take its hand, and it just kind of gives you a gentle urging to come out, despite not seeing anything, you feel a solid floor between the cells, and you can just step over into the next cell. So I'm going to move you over, and it goes about its business. It floats out of your vision, but you can now get to this point, and we'll go back in the group. Make sure to unmute everyone.
I did it.
Hey.
Today somewhere.
Hey.
Hello.
So, you guys hear a slight grinding of stone and metal, and suddenly Tani steps into the cell to your left.
Can we unmute her?
How?
Can we unmute her, Kevin?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, I forgot that you also muted. Yes, you can. Apologies.
Tani,
I did it, guys. I did a thing.
what did you do?
Okay, so the energy person, Kiranos, was peeking, and I got his attention, and I got him. I asked him some questions. Really smart ones, in my opinion. So I asked again for Lord Sordenbrand. He did say again that there's only 5 currently, like, alive. So we're 4, and he mentioned that it was Lady Edeah, but then started changing times. He started mentioning like 1 week or 8. How much was it? Sorry, and then
Yeah,
8
8
hours,
days, 3 days, 4
Uh-huh.
hours ago.
and started changing the time. So I don't really know the time, but I did ask if her physical being was here and stuff, and he was, being kind of vague. But he did mention 5 people currently inside the tower, and also, he was worried about you guys. I don't know. You were doing something. I have no idea. He did mention
Us?
that
No.
security will come. They shouldn't try to get out and stuff. Whatever. And I mentioned. I asked what security is, and well, security is not those monsters that we saw. He mentioned
Right.
that those dudes shouldn't be here, and like the master contained them, but they're getting out. And yeah,
Oh,
No.
can we?
Very good work.
No, we didn't try to
Right.
escape. We just wanted to be with each other.
yeah, I told him that, like, yeah, we're prisoners. Don't worry.
Can we ask? Can we talk to him? Can we ask him if he?
Well, he helped me move to a cell closer to you guys because I couldn't hear anything, but I don't know where he is. Can I see around and see if he's around?
You can all make a perception check if you like.
Yes.
In total 20.
Evan.
Okay.
8.
And Myra at 22. Okay. Milos, sorry, what was Barnax again?
In total 20.
Okay. Barnack and Myra. So all of you kind of take a look around, look through the different portions of your cell out towards the other ones to see if you can catch a glimpse of Kiralos. As you do, Barnack and Myra, you both get to the bottom and the left one, and you catch a brief glimpse of this humanoid figure swirling with these magical energies, just peeking around the corner of the cell to the south. But as soon as either of you see it, it just immediately vanishes, pulling away, but then it disappears before actually having pulled it away entirely.
I checked, by the way, Nicola, so I will go through. Do we have our belongings?
Yes, you have everything that you had on you.
Perfect. So I will go into my bag and produce weird mushroom.
From a certain cave.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will hand it to Jean-Jacques.
Okay.
And I will say, I really hope it doesn't kill you. If it does, we will not do anything to your body.
Why would you feel?
I mean, because everyone thinks I pee on corpses. I don't.
I mean, what you just said is so
Just eat
much
it.
worse, Barnack. Like, even you having to
Just eat
say
it, just eat it,
something
just
is
eat it,
just absolutely.
just eat it.
And I eat it.
Okay.
And then, Kiralos, can we talk to you for a moment, please?
Make a persuasion check, actually.
Okay.
What does the mushroom do again? I don't have my notes about it in front of
There's
me.
exhaustion.
Right. Well, that's a timely use of that. A 1.
Aw.
There is only the endless silence of the astral plane to answer you.
I'll just sit on the ground. I'm done.
Does it work?
Also, when I moved cells, it felt sort of like ground, but it still looked. But I don't know if it was Kirilos making it possible for me to move.
Good to know.
Did the mushroom work?
Yes.
Finally, after days.
Just roll better, dude. Come on.
I don't have it anymore, by the way.
That feels so good, Barnack. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you
Kind
looked
of
a bit
shake my shoulders.
weird.
Yeah, I was not feeling good. Had a real rough time with sleep a couple nights in a row. Kiralos, please, we just need to talk to you. It's very important.
Roll a persuasion check. I'll give each of you 1 if it comes to it, so.
Give myself advantage for 5 minutes on all ability checks
Okay.
using my watch.
Okay. So this is quite an overt use, by the way. So the rest of the party definitely sees you.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you have
think
to
at
kinda
this
think
point
about-
it's kind of the jig is up. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I look at you know, I could do that, but didn't.
24.
I never did that.
Okay.
by the way.
So it is still working. I just mutter.
It's
Yeah, I'll-
working again.
Yeah, I'll look at Jean-Jacques and say, we'll talk about this later.
So as he's doing this, by the way, Myra and like Myra, you hear this very clearly. The other two very faintly. Once again, His call out is accompanied by the gentle ticking of a clock. Tick, 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 tick.
And we're used to it now. Like the two of us
That's up to
know
you.
what.
That your response is entirely yours. But it is quiet. It is distant as it has been in the past, except for Myra.
Same old ticking.
Yeah. There's still a moment of silence, and you think even this attempt has failed, when suddenly appearing at the door is the shimmering magical form of Kyrillos, this strange humanoid figure that doesn't really have any discernible features except the fact that it's completely entirely unique in your experience so far. It appears at the door, seemingly floating its feet, slightly down. It's sort of a Dr. Manhattan type situation. And it appears there, and it leans forward slightly, tilting its head. And the voice is in contrast with how calm it looks, as it says, "You're not supposed to be in the same cell together. You have to go back to your own cell and wait for the master. This is not how it's supposed to be. Please go back to your own cells. I can only keep security away for so long."
I understand, and we can do that, but let's first talk, please, because a lot of things aren't the way that they're supposed to be in the tower, are they?
But that's why it's more important than ever that I keep those things that are as they are, as they're supposed to be, as they are.
Look at him like...
There was a portion of that definitely went on in his head only, or in its head only.
Yeah. Is that your primary duty here? To keep things the way that they're supposed to be?
I am the steward of the tower. I keep things running and operational, and we've already lost power to many of the rooms, but we continue. The master will return and set things to rights.
What is your biggest obstacle in keeping things running?
It hesitates, and then I am not permitted to specify, but I am permitted to specify the second largest obstacle.
All right.
There are several of these absorbent creatures that have made their way into the engine room, and they have interfered with the operation of the tower. I haven't found a way yet to dispose of them, and in fact, the last 2 times that I've tried, 2 more made their way inside. They are similar to what you faced outside of the tower, but larger and differently evolved.
That sounds wonderful. So, if you were to, let's say, clear that room in whatever way possible, would that not be you doing the most important job that you have?
If I was able to, yes, but my very nature prevents me from doing so.
What about our nature?
You are unregistered visitors to the tower. You must remain here until the master grants you permission.
I understand. Which is more important? To keep us here under lock and key, or to clear that room?
I am under directive to never let an unregistered visitor enter the tower. Even now, you are not truly within. And it kind of looks around, even though it doesn't have eyes or a face to really do so with.
And have you not registered us as prisoners?
You are prisoners.
And we are therefore registered in the tower as prisoners.
As prisoners, whose only access rights are these cells, which is why you need to return to your own. You do not have permission to access another cell.
Can you not give access to prisoners, since they are registered, to other parts of the tower for exchange of work, like indentured servitude?
I'm not capable of such action. I do not grant any rights outside of the directives that have been provided to me, and the only directive I have is to grant access to this prison as a prisoner. You must return. As long as you are here, I do not think security will come. It is too difficult, but if you escape, you only have little time. You will not have identification, which means that they will find you and drag you back here by all means possible.
Okay, so security would not harm us. They would just drag us back?
They would harm you. They would not seek to kill you. There is an acceptable level of force policy in place. Depending on your actions, the acceptable level of force escalates. If you prove...
Hypothetically... Sorry.
Oh, I'll just finish real quick. If you prove a large enough danger, then termination policy will be implemented. Chansey, you wanted to say?
Hypothetically, that terminal you were working on, can that give access to people to different access to different parts of the tower?
Through teleportation, yes, it would grant you access, but it would not allow you to transport if you did not have the correct identification. This is what I was working on. I was overriding my protocols because your safety was in danger through a fault of the tower. Now that that has been rectified, I can no longer act outside of my policies.
And was it rectified?
You are safe.
But the monsters are still out there, right? Uncontained? You mentioned?
They are contained. I'm not at liberty to say any more than that at this time, until the Master grants you the right to access that information.
How much time did you say it passed, and well, from the last time Master came here? You specified a number of years that was a bit too great for us.
Let me see real quick.
Like 1900 days or
Yeah,
something? No, more.
I think it was more.
19,000 days?
Let me just look for that.
I think it was years.
The Master has not returned to the tower in 49,731 days. 49,801. 4,700.
That's plenty, girls. Don't worry about it.
And it still continues to repeat several times different numbers, as if it's correcting for something.
You mentioned when we were outside that there was risk of a temporal anomaly or the utter collapse of time and space within the tower, if I remember correctly.
According to current projections, and you see that as you start to quiz Kyrillos about these things, the voice turns more monotone and less of the personality shines through. What that might mean is up to you, but just so you know. Current projections suggest that the tower will suffer total reality collapse between 3 and 94,883 days from now. Between 4 and 40,487. Between 140,000... And it just keeps repeating different numbers.
Kyrillos, question. If your tower suffers total failure, whatever you said, isn't your mission obsolete? And doesn't that mean that you failed in your mission?
If it fails, then yeah, I will have failed to maintain the tower, yes.
Okay. If we can help you prevent that, How about you help us help you prevent that?
And aren't we in danger of a total reality collapse where we are right now? What would happen if prisoners were left in the prison while total reality collapse happened?
In the event of total reality collapse, this section of the tower would be cast out to prevent it from being absorbed by such an event. You would float away, and just kind of gestures around itself to the empty astral sea. As it does so, you get a very peculiar sight, as rather than just pure empty space, off in the distance, you have no idea what the level of scale is here. You see a round orb, the way that you might see the moon in the sky. But this one is blue and white, and it has, well, to our understanding, continents on it.
Well, if we were cast out that way, we'd be without food, water, and as we are humanoids, we'd eventually perish.
That is correct.
So you would fail to protect the prisoners in that case too, as well as the tower.
In that event, yes, but that event has not yet occurred.
But it might in 3 days.
It might and it continues to ramble off different numbers.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But the lowest number of days you said was 3, correct?
3.
Yeah, 3, 4, 7, and 3.
75 minutes.
75 minutes. Okay, so we have 75 minutes until you fail.
427 days.
We have 75 minutes until you fail spectacularly in all of your steward duties.
Then in 75 minutes I will be able to act outside of my parameters to aid you.
Okay, could you...
There's a brief moment, and it actually interrupts you as you're trying to formulate another question. And the voice, much smaller this time, just goes, "But if you violate my parameters, there's nothing I can do. You just need to be fast enough." And it just cuts off, like, right before the end of the sentence. And it just kind of writes itself. Almost, you would think it's curious at what's happening. And you gather that... Well, no, rather, all of you can make an intelligence check if you like.
Right.
Is it 5 minutes past at this point?
Well, it's been a real-time conversation, I think so.
Yeah. I'm not sure when they activated it, so...
roll a D100 if you like, and see if you get under 10, then it ended.
I think it's past. 5 minutes past, I'm sure.
Okay.
2.
16.
16?
12.
12, okay. And Myra has a 19. Okay, so Myra and Jean-Jacques, between the two of you, probably maybe standing side by side and mumbling under your breath a bit to theorize, you get the impression that the time that Kyrillos has spent alone in the tower has given it certain freedoms to develop itself. So rather than just being an automaton, the like of which some of you have encountered before, it has begun to build some semblance of self-awareness, but it can't break free from its directives, seemingly in any way. And you know that creatures like this definitely, normally they can't do anything outside of what they've been told to do. It would just repeat exactly what it's been told to say every single time. So the fact that it hasn't done that is already remarkable. And I'll say it floated over to this side so that Tanya can also be part of the conversation.
You're fast.
So, what you guys want to do?
Kyrillos, what are our rights as prisoners? Do we have a right to talk to someone? Do we have a right to go outside and stretch? Do we have a right to ask for legal counsel from Justitia?
This query is not logical. I don't understand.
Means we have no rights, I think.
Yeah.
The Master will
What?
return soon, and he will grant you access rights according to what you deserve.
What would happen in the eventuality that you were to find out that the Master was no more?
The Master will return, and he will be able to grant you access rights according to what you deserve.
Kirill said that we need to act quickly if we want to whatever thingy tank. You understood it more than me.
Yeah, before security tracks us back.
Yeah. Does that mean hit it with an arrow?
You must return to your cells and
I
wait for
am
the
in my
Master.
cell. When I look around, I'm actually in my cell.
You are? I can aid you in returning to your cells. Then you can rest and wait. You will have food, and I can provide some reading material. Please return to your cells.
Kirill, if there's a total reality collapse thing, will this tower disappear, or rather, will your tower disappear? Will your master's tower disappear because of that?
Everything will be as if it were not, in a radius around the core of the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the circumference of that radius?
There's a quick kind of motion. It will likely be between prime material plane units 10 and 150 miles.
That means Justitia, right, Kevin?
Yes, that would be the capital city.
So, if that happens, your master will not have a place to return to.
That is correct.
So, to prevent that from happening and to allow your master to come and grant us rights, you can go out of your way to escort us as prisoners to help you fix this thing and then bring us back here. And then we can wait for your master.
Prisoners should never leave the confines of their cells.
Can you transport the cells themselves?
No. The cells are tethered here.
Wait, what does... Do they have to be these cells exactly?
I can grant you access to a different cell nearby, if you wish.
Can we define a cell in a different way?
There are 9 cells. 10 containment units.
10 containment units and 9 cells?
I think that means 10 prisons with 9 cells, potentially.
Okay. Is there a containment unit that is much closer to the core that is going to go boom?
It is already occupied.
Are your number one concern?
It computes and tries to see if it can actually respond. No.
By a human?
No. There is one human in the tower.
And it's nonetheless, I believe. Well, but Myra is human, no?
It's
No?
not. It's not Lady Edeah, is either. Right?
Sorry, is Myra human? I forgot.
Lineage.
Right. So then it should have said 2. Apologies.
I think I need to go. My medicine's knocking me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you feel
Go.
better
Hang in
soon.
there, Chansey.
Yeah. Feel better, Chansey.
I still have 2 emboldening bonds if we need to punch each other to move around again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, it's gonna mess up our video a bit. I don't suppose any of you have Zoom on your phone? Well, I mean, we're already near the end, so it's fine. We'll survive. Alright. So yeah, 2 humans in the tower.
What is your primary duty?
My primary duty and directive is to maintain the operation of the tower to the best of my ability.
Is that directive more important than all the other directives?
Yes.
To the best of your ability, does that include everything that you could possibly do to maintain the tower?
Yes.
Would you not then be able to help us help you maintain the tower if that were the only way to maintain the tower?
No.
Like to be fast. See if that works. Is the directive to keep prisoners in the prison more important than your primary directive?
It can override the primary directive because I am not qualified to assess the level of danger that our prisoners might be.
How can you not assess when you've seen us in action?
I am not qualified to make an assessment of your qualities.
And who might be?
The
I
master.
would imagine the master. Alright. And only the master?
You should ask me differently.
Is Lady Edeah also qualified?
By default, the Lady Edeah does not have the right to grant access to anyone to the
By
tower.
default. But what's changed?
I'm not permitted to specify. Ask me differently. All right, let's end it there, and we'll pick it up next week.
You suck.
Well, we want to give Chansey a chance to get in there as
chance?
well.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to give her a Chansey to get in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, guys. You're in the tower. Well done.
Yay!
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes.
Hey, stream.
Yes, it was.
Everyone, thank you so much for watching, for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Remember to follow. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe there. Subscribe here if you want to. Simon, thank you again for the gift sub and for the inspiration for being here with us throughout this whole thing. We will be back next week with the next episode of Tales of Edeah and this interrogation of Kiralos, this strange being. Yeah, we appreciate you guys so much and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.